All right, welcome to Playthrough 8. So, from previous playthroughs, I've learned if you understand the basics of the story, the dialogue starts to make a little bit more sense. But when we tried it blind with somebody, there was a lot of questions about like what they were doing, who they were talking to. So, as a basic story for since Jeff is our new player and hasn't heard of the story yet, the game basically takes place in a museum in the 1920s. The owner of this museum is throwing a party of 6 people. When you arrive, he locks you all inside, and then he's mysteriously murdered. And it's your job to figure out what happened. The gameplay will be similar to the style of Phoenix Wright or Danganronpa, where it's a 2D image, dialogue, and you have to work your way through the tree. And that's what we're going to do today. So I will be driving. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions before we get started?
So it is the owner of the museum that invited us?
Yes, and he's also the one who died. His name is
Yes.
Carter Kavanaugh. So
Sure.
the scene we're going into right now is you're going to the wing where he has been murdered, and you're going just basically to investigate.
Sweet. So I am a police officer, I'm a guest, I'm a
You're a guest, so
okay,
you're
I'm
one of
just a, I'm just
his.
a random guest.
Yes.
Not involved with like law enforcement in any way. Got it.
No. So shall begin. You enter the exhibit for the South African artifacts. There are many glass cases filled with interesting cultural effects. The lighting is slightly dim, with compact spotlights focused on items on the display. A body is laying on the floor, not too far beyond the doorway, a pool of blood around its head. Strangely, you notice, its face is obscured by a mask that looks like it could have come from one of the exhibits. There's a man standing over the body, a rather elderly gentleman wearing a shabby clothes and a cap. He's wringing his hands and looks highly distraught. This is where normally, if you were driving, you would click on, you approach
I
him.
approach him.
As you draw near, you can hear him lamenting under his breath. Oh, how could I let this happen? I was supposed to protect him. God, it should have been me. You arrive before him and hesitantly try to get his attention.
Hello. Who are you?
The man jumps back as though he hasn't noticed you enter the room. Oh, forgive me. My nerves are all jangled. What a horrible night this has been. You wait, watching him expectantly. The man pulls a stained handkerchief out of his pocket and dabs his eyes. You want my name? It's Henry. Henry Fink. I've been assigned to Mr. Kavanaugh's security for as long as I can remember, and my father did the same for his father. Oh, this is just horrible. The absolute worst case scenario. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Okay. You don't look like a security guard.
Now we're going to get to start making choices. Henry honks into his handkerchief. His nose is large and red. Oh, Mr. Kavanaugh never wanted me carrying around one of those. Said it'd make him look like one of those mafia bosses. And besides, they're dangerous to keep around. Someone could get hurt. He dabs at his eyes. I do have some defensive training, but all Mr. Kavanaugh cared about was that he could trust me. Trust was the most important thing. That and family. So here you have two options. Why can't we leave the museum? Because as I mentioned earlier, you've been locked in. And where were you when the murder happened? Which one would you like to go with?
I'm going to start with why can't we leave the museum?
Okay. Mr. Kavanaugh said this wasn't going to be like a normal party. He is a bit of an eccentric man, but he was also a genius, unappreciated in his time, if you ask me. He wants to really delve into the experience of his collection instead of just standing around in the champagne looking pretty. He said he needed his guests to live and breathe the artifacts he was finding. That's why he had me lock up all the doors on a timer. They will open as soon as the sun rises. So your options are now, why is your name in the guest book from earlier today? What were you doing there? Or what were you doing here? And did you hear anything or see anything around the time of the murder?
I'm going to go with did you hear or see anything? Because I'm going to assume he should have been there if he was the bodyguard, and that would have been his response. So I'm going to try that second one.
Okay. Henry's a guest. Goodness me, no. I was in the security booth for about 3 minutes before the power was knocked out. I heard glass shattering. I think in the next gallery over. The Pacific Islands exhibit, maybe. I don't know. I heard gunshots too. 2 of them. Even though Mr. Kavanaugh was never shot, I thought I checked everyone at the door for a weapon and the like. Just who the hell is packing at a party like this? So your options are, why is the door
the
locked?
door locked, which is the same link as earlier because I can see it change color. So okay,
all right, cool. So you can't see that. Nice.
It's subtle, but I can see it. So yeah, if it's you might want to make it like red or some other more obvious color if it's already been picked, or I
it's
guess you
good.
can't grade out if it's just a
Yeah.
website.
It's good. You and Phoebe picked up on it. I did not when I did my playtest. So, well, that's
Okay, cool.
good. Cool. So yeah,
Yep.
you're gonna go with why is your name in the guest book from earlier today?
Right.
Henry looks uncomfortable. That's nothing. Don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with what happened to Mr. Kavanaugh. So, as an aside, Evelyn, we had a previous playtest where you went and talked to Evelyn. So this would be like your second or third encounter in the story of the game. So if you don't know who
Oh,
Evelyn
okay.
is, it'll
Okay.
come
So
up.
this is not the start of this. We're like some midpoint of the game.
Well, it's probably like go with like the third scene, probably.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because that was one of Phoebe's big questions, like who's Evelyn? But Evelyn's name's in the book too. If she was here before the party started, she could have done something to set it up for a crime. Henry is horrified. My God, you really think Miss Evelyn is capable of doing something so horrible? She loved Mr. Kavanaugh, and he loved her in his own way. She's gotten annoyed with him before, but there's no reason to suppose she's a murderer.
All right. So and he loves her in his own way. I would go with the second one. Anyone is capable. If you're hiding
Okay.
something, it could mean never discovered.
All right. Henry face crumples. Oh, all right, all right. She was here earlier today. I don't know why. She said she went to see Mr. Kavanaugh, but he wasn't here. I was making preparations for the party, setting the lock timers and all. He was still back at the estate. She told me not to put her name in the book, and I almost listened to her. But at the end of the day, I'm a security man, It's my job to know who's where and when. So I guess.
All right. So then I only get the one choice.
Yep. Do you have any idea why somebody want to kill him? Henry looks uneasy again. Mr. Kavanaugh was a very powerful man. He had a lot of friends, but he had just as many enemies. But this party, all the guests were supposed to be people he trusted. Why anyone want to kill him, I have no idea. So which one are we gonna go with here?
Oh, let's go with freaky stuff.
And that's what I chose, and that was how you fail the dialogue. I do find it funny. BB got through it. If you go to the bottom choice, I believe there's one other choice you can fail after that. But yeah, it's funny. So she ended up she went against freaky stuff because it's supposed to be set in the 20s. Like, I don't know if you'd say that. So she almost like picked up on it. But yeah. So at this point in the game, Henry would like scurry off, and your
Okay.
journal would probably only be 2/3 of the way full as opposed to all the way full with all the information.
Okay. And
So,
then am I kicked back to the start of the game, to the start of this scene, or that's all the information I can get out of Henry?
so let me show you what would happen next, just to give you an idea. So this is basically the flow of the game. We pick the wing to go to. You can examine for objects. We were doing the question, Henry. At this point, you would search the room for clues and then examine said clues. And then the journal, like you would, since you failed the dialogue, you would only get this and this.
Oh, right. I would only get a couple pieces.
Yeah.
So I hopefully the artifacts and the clues would give me enough to get whatever I needed for the other part.
Yep. And then that would
right.
that would potentially do different endings. So.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have any questions, comments, feedback?
My only feedback, especially at the beginning, is maybe I don't necessarily like clicking or having it look like you're presented with a dialogue choice when you're not presented with a dialogue choice. But that's just
it's like it would just be like just auto go with it until you get
like it's more you just read it conversationally until you get to a point where you actually have to make a decision.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's because of the script she made, like if she could do that or something else. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, I mean not a big issue because I know there are some games where it's just like you hit continue and then your guy gives his line of dialogue, so instead of telling you the line of dialogue, it's just like continue and then your character says something and it moves on that way. So it's basically it's the same thing. It's just the way it's presented.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I think that's good. I like the idea. They did a real good job writing the the script. I mean, it's a lot of dialogue even for this couple of screens. So
Yeah. Basic part of the game design doc requires that we have a full script, and it's like if we have the full script, it'll be 3 times the size of the doc. So cool. Well, thank you, Jeff.
oh, no problem.
Thank you everybody for watching, and away we go.